Welcome to my donut-proof method of songwriting. If you don't even have an instrument, then you can still learn how to write songs by downloading my piano app and completing this step-by-step method using that. If you already have an instrument, then that's obviously great. For anyone who plays an instrument that cannot play chords, such as drummers, bassists, or violinists, I suggest you download my piano app or buy yourself a cheap keyboard. But it is equally possible to use an instrument that cannot create chords to write songs, and I'll do a different video on that for anyone who's interested. For your first song, you should limit yourself to one chord and one instrument plus a singer. If you think about how you learned to read, you didn't start by reading novels. I can teach you how to write epic music, but we have to start with achievable steps that we can learn from, rather than just throwing ideas everywhere and hoping we write a gem of a song. The singer of your song could be you or someone else, but even if you don't feel you sing well, singing is a great way to become a better musician in general. And believe me when I say, you sing better than I do. The goal is to become a great songwriter. Our focus in this video series isn't on making you a great singer. So please, sing what you write, even if it has to be at the dead of night when no one can hear you. We want a framework with which to write. And as always, I'm going to start with the big picture and then zoom in, adding more and more detail as we go. And this framework will allow you to write whatever style of music you like. I'm going to give you examples of how the same steps can be used to create a pop song, rock song, jazz song, industrial metal song, acoustic ballad, all of the above and more. So let's dive into my foolproof step-by-step method of songwriting. I hope you're excited about writing your first song or improving on your existing songwriting skills. I'm excited. I'm going to get myself a donut and then teach you how to write songs one step at a time. Step 1. Decide how long you want your song to be. I recommend your goal is to write a song which lasts between 2 minutes and 30 seconds and 4 minutes, because that is the golden length for a song. But always remain open-minded. I see too many songwriters being inflexible and not being as good at songwriting as they could be because they have some weird idea that you can't change things. All of the steps in this method can be changed at any point during the songwriting process. Music is living and songwriting is organic. Let it breathe and let it develop. If you aim to write a 4-minute song and it ends up being 2 minutes, that's fine, and vice versa. Or if you aim to write a 4-minute song and it ends up being 10 minutes long, then that's cool too. Be flexible. Step 2. Once you have decided on the length of your song, we are then going to divide that time up into sections. The structure we are going to at least start with is intro, verse, chorus, chorus, outro. The reason for this structure is because it is relatively simple. We don't need to come up with too many different ideas to get the song completed. We don't need a solo or a bridge or a pre-chorus, for example. But this structure should give us enough parts to fill the 2 minutes 30 seconds to 4 minutes goal we are aiming for. If you don't know what an intro, verse and chorus are, then skip over to my 60-second lessons playlist. The intro and outro of our song are going to be identical, so that takes care of those two parts. And the verse is going to use the same music as the intro. We'll just add words over the intro to create the verse. And then we will just need a second musical idea for the chorus. So what does all that mean? It means we literally only need to come up with 2 musical ideas with our one chord to create our entire song. For anyone who thinks this sounds too simple to be any good, have a listen to the intro, verse and outro of almost any famous song, and that's actually what they do. Intros and outros are often the same, and verses often use the same music as the intro, just with lyrics added over the top. Outros can also take the music of the chorus and just use that with or without words, which again means we still only need 2 musical ideas. The structure of our song in sections looks like this, and in terms of musical ideas, the structure is this. Because we are only using one chord, we could even argue that our structure is really this. But I feel the second version of our structural map, with sections marked as A and B, is best. As always, how you describe the sections of your song is up to you. Step 3. Write a list of the things you want from this song. They can be ideas for the topic of the song, the lyrics, colors, sounds, vibes, emotions, individual words. You could write down a list of songs that inspire you and that you'd like this song to sound like. Anything goes. For example, I could write down friendship as the topic of my song, the sentence, "We have so much fun together," the colors green and purple, and the descriptive word soft, and the feeling of floating. Or I could choose the topic traveling, the sentence I'm on a train watching the sunset, the colors light blue and orange, the descriptive word driving, and the feeling of being energized. Again, anything goes. Remember, you can always change these ideas as the song progresses, or throw them away completely and start again. If you really struggle coming up with these starting points, then do an internet search for song ideas, or look in a dictionary and choose a word at random and use this as a learning exercise to write a song about whatever word comes up. For example, online dictionary, word of the day, motorboat. Noun, a small fast boat that is powered by a motor. On to step 4. Step 4. Pick a chord. Try a few chords you know, or even look some up if you're a complete beginner. Looking back to step 3, I chose friendship as my topic for my song, and I wrote the sentence, "We have so much fun together." I wrote the colors green and purple, and soft and floating. The more experience you have with music, the more you can start to link words and feelings to specific chords and sounds. For me, if I want, for example, warm, I might try a slightly more complex chord like an A major 7 chord, which sounds like this on a piano. And if I want floating, I might try an A sus2 chord, which sounds like this on a guitar. In my opinion, major 7th chords are warm sounding, and sus2 chords create a floating feeling. But if what I just said sounds like rocket science, then just start with whatever chord you know. Even a basic E minor chord is great, and on guitar you can even play that with just one hand, because you only need to play the top 3 strings. Literally anyone can do this. For those even without an instrument, a C major chord on the Sound Tuition piano app would sound like this. If you know a few chords, then you could test some and see which chord you get a good feeling about. I'm going to choose the chord of D for the very deep and particularly musical reason that it is the first letter of the word donut. Step 5, play something. Remember, this could be on piano, guitar, ukulele, my piano app on your mobile, whatever your instrument is. So if you're a complete beginner, maybe I would just play quarter notes of the one chord you have chosen. Using a D chord, that would sound like this on a ukulele. If you're an intermediate, advanced or boss-like player, then try something more complex. A more complex rhythm, that could sound something like this on a ukulele. Or this. There is still plenty more we can do with one chord, but we need to start somewhere. These ideas sound best for acoustic music at the moment, which is awesome, but I'm also going to cover heavier sounds and loads of different styles in a bit. I'm here to teach you to become a musician, and true musicians can manipulate music however they like, and not only play in one style. One of the many great things about writing a song using my method is that it doesn't matter if you're a complete beginner or a professional musician with decades of experience. Everyone can write a new song, and everyone can challenge themselves. Share this video with the best musician you know, and see what they can come up with when they are limited to only one chord. With your one chord, try a variety of rhythms, and when you feel you have something that inspires you, then make a quick video of it on your phone so you don't forget it. If nothing inspires you, then literally stick with 4 one-beat notes of your chord on whatever instrument you are playing. Step 6. Now that I have a feel for the one chord I chose in step 4 and I've played about with it a bit, I'm going to pick a time signature for my song. Time signatures are a really underused area of songwriting. I'll discuss them in depth later, but for your first song, I want you to stick to what is called 4/4 time, which simply means the music's underlying counting is a loop of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 throughout the song. Step 7, pick a tempo. When we choose how fast our song will go, we are going to measure the speed in beats per minute. Each count is a beat, and if we chose, for example, 60 beats per minute as the speed of our song, that means each count or beat will last 1 second. Looking back at the topic I chose to write about, the words, colors, and emotions I wrote down will help me decide this. Remember, nothing is carved in stone, and we can and should be flexible and change anything at any point. Working with the topic of friendship and the words soft and floating, I'm going to choose a medium tempo. Anything below 70 BPM is fairly slow, and above 110 BPM is fairly fast, so I'm going to go with 85 beats per minute. To gain some experience of tempo, you can download a metronome, which is a timekeeping device, or a drum machine onto your phone. Set either one to 60 BPM and then play your chord as chord notes along with it. Then set the metronome or drum machine to 80 BPM and play your one chord at this tempo. And then 100 BPM and play your chord at this tempo. And so on. How does each tempo make you feel? How does it affect the energy of the song? What tempo inspires you to sing along or tap your foot? We're learning about songwriting, and learning about each element in a controlled manner is really key here. 120 beats per minute might not suit my topic of floating friendship, but might be great for the other topic I wrote down in step 3, which was traveling with a driving, energetic feel. If you were writing an acoustic ballad about your pet, then slower might be good. If you're writing a thrash metal track about how much you hate donuts, then faster speeds might be best. Here is my D chord played at 85 beats per minute with a more complex rhythm. Step 8. Make the chord fit your style. Now this can require a lot of learning, and I'll do a separate in-depth bolt-on video for each style. But for now, I'll give you the crash course in this. Try and find the characteristic features of the style you like. If you listen to one style of music a lot, then you already know the kind of sound you're searching for. But you probably just don't know what makes that sound that sound. Also, I'm going to add a drum machine, as it's a simple way to dramatically change the style of the music without adding much complexity to our process. So, starting with a bass line of an acoustic guitar played along with the first cool sounding drum machine setting I can find at 65 beats per minute would sound like this. Which is great if I want to write an acoustic track. If I wanted it to sound a bit more like electro-pop, then maybe I could use a clean sounding electric guitar with a more simple drum machine setting at 85 beats per minute. If you like jazz, then I would make whatever chord you chose a 7th chord. This could be major 7, minor 7, or just a 7th, really called a dominant 7th chord. And if you don't know how to play any 7th chords, then looking up one chord should be easy enough to do on the internet. I would then play my one chord as a 7th chord with what is called a swing rhythm, which is the kind of bounce that blues and jazz music often use. For example, my D chord turned into a D major 7 chord played with a swing rhythm along with a drum machine set to a jazz groove at 65 beats per minute would sound like this. For rock music, I might turn my chord into a power chord, also called a 5 chord. I might switch to an electric guitar and add a drum machine playing whatever the first rock beat I can find is. So the chord D5 played on an electric guitar with a distortion guitar effect and a drum machine at 100 beats per minute could sound like this. If I wanted to go heavier still, I would change my D chord into a D diminished chord, also called a D tritone, which with a distortion guitar effect and a drum machine set to the first thrash setting I can find and played at 120 beats per minute, could sound like this. Hopefully you can hear how simply changing the speed of a track, the type of guitar and guitar effect I use, and possibly most importantly, the type of chord I use, dramatically affect the style of the song I'm writing. We could also hear how this one D chord sounds on a ukulele along with a drum machine at 95 beats per minute. And then with a piano, with an acoustic piano sound and no drum machine, played at 70 beats per minute. And finally, with a more synth or synthesizer type sound, with the drum machine playing a busier musical idea at 110 beats per minute, using either an electric keyboard or my piano app. I cannot stress enough how powerful this all is. It is so important to me that everyone understands that all of these examples come from just one chord with a relatively basic knowledge of chord type. There is still so much we can do, and I'll keep the most important trick for the last step. That's not to tease anyone. I don't personally like it when teachers withhold information because they don't have enough knowledge to keep students coming back for lessons. It's simply just because the end of my one-chord songwriting method is the most logical place to talk about my favorite trick. From this video, the goal has been to create one chord idea using one rhythm. And we're going to loop this idea to create the intro and verse of our song. We'll continue in part 2 of this video with step 9. If you really have a style of music you want to learn how to write in, then watch my bolt-on videos that focus on specific styles of music using the method I'm outlining here. Also, rewatch this video a few times to get the most from it. Take notes, play along with my examples, try these ideas yourself, try different chords, and so on. And most of all, have a top day playing around with sound. I'm Pete Cook, soundtuition.com.